Is it already rolling? Oh, nice! I can see the
That helps on
No,
the
you see the
reflection.
screen?
Yeah,
Look,
yeah.
Big screen.
Interesting.
Should do like a mirror right there.
What's up? Welcome back. I want to keep that in there. Episode
11
of
the Granddad Show.
Welcome. Today we have a very special guest,
John?
Mosher from
Mosher?
M2 Mosher.
Mosher. It's alright. Mosher.
Happens to me all the time.
Oh.
It's
Okay,
okay.
there's
It's alright.
I have
Chris
eight, so
Ock, Chris Akey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Aki.
Mine's easy.
Yeah.
It's Ross. No one mispronounces
Easy.
my name.
you're pretty basic, man.
I'm basic. My name
We
might
need
be
Gene
basic,
here for
but
that.
I am
She
not
says-
basic at all. Everybody knows I'm not basic.
So, broke the double digits, episode 11. Very special guest, friend, client. We have a great relationship with that. And he's from M2 Scientific. Add the S.
With an S?
Yeah,
Yep.
add the S. Hey, I got it, man.
Yeah,
Add the S.
good job,
We'll
man.
put a link right there. Charles, the captain.
See, I looked like it was going to actually be above our head.
That's good because it'll
One
go
day.
bing as I point. It'll look.
Mhm.
You'll put it right there.
I think I
So
want to.
Wonderful.
yeah. So as you guys know, our content we're talking about entrepreneurship. We're talking about marketing. We're talking about tech, business. Pretty much our content's geared for business people. If you're marketing to the hustler, entrepreneur, starting a company, and John has a pretty unique story that I kind of want to open up to him because I have a similar story. We have parallels. Actually, Brandon probably the same thing too.
Mhm.
And I'll let you know about what we're going to talk about because we kind of briefly talked about it. John was like, "Hey, what kind of content are we going to talk about?" And I was like, "Hey, man, we just kind of freestyle it." And then I started thinking, I was like, you know what though, we could actually pick a very broad subject. And the broad subject I thought about was starting a business from not knowing the industry.
Sure.
Right.
And you guys see where this is going, right?
Yeah.
Because John, I'll let him tell you what he does, but he had no clue, getting into it. And the beautiful thing about everything out there in the internet, the phones, right, YouTube, we can access
Yeah.
these things. We can teach ourselves. It's no different from college or trade school. If you could apply that knowledge and get there faster. I'm the same way. Grand apps, I had no idea about mobile apps or tech or marketing. I went to school for just general business degree. You were accounting.
I was accounting. I had no idea about sales. I had no idea how to talk to CEOs, how to sell a product, how to pitch a product, how to really communicate and get my point across. I was in accounting. I just sat behind. I was crunching numbers all day. So it was definitely a self-taught industry for me to get into.
Yeah. So tell me your story, real quick, brief. How you do your pitch.
So, the owner of M2 Scientifics, we're actually a lab supply and equipment company. So our client base is universities, various industrial production. So it's a long story how we got into it. But as Chris had said, it's a very interesting industry for us. So my brother and I, he's part owner, we came into it from the auto parts industry. So very weird parallel.
Right.
Very odd.
Yep.
Right. So
Was he the same too? Industry?
what's it? Yeah, he was
He
all
was the
yes,
same?
yeah.
Okay.
So we actually worked for the same company.
I did not know that.
So very odd for us to come into this market. So
Right.
what we started out by doing was we did like you had said. We went online, we read, we did a lot of
How'd
research.
you pick that niche though? I'm kind of curious.
That's a very long story, but let's just say I had another business prior,
Yeah.
and I was actually a trade assistant. Everybody does the eBay stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Remember that? Remember
Yeah.
that when that was cool?
Yeah.
Right. So I wanted to be cool, and I did an eBay thing.
Right.
And
What about Amazon? You ever get on there, flip or go?
you know, I
price
haven't
per
sold on
platform?
Amazon yet.
No.
No, I buy on Amazon.
Yeah, I buy that. Prime.
Yeah. So
Shout out to Prime. Pay us for the link.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, send a check to me. All right. So, anyhow, yeah, the story of how it all came about is through another business. We had a couple guys that came to us that were in the industry prior,
Right.
and they had worked within a company that was really successful. They were on a different side of things, so they did used equipment, which in laboratories, in research in general, the closing labs is just as big of a business as new labs, right? So companies going, they'll buy out a lab that's closed down, funding dries up, whatever the case may be, and then they sell the stuff refurbished, right? So that's where we were going to go. So as we were doing research, we did something a lot of people don't do. We actually reached out to people that would be our competitors, essentially.
Which is,
Right.
I would say, a great step.
Yeah.
Right.
Good for you.
Yep.
People, you need to.
Yeah, a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah.
Now, some of the responses that we
How did
got.
you reach out? Did you reach out I'm coming into the market as a competitor, or is it more or less like the dumb card?
No, I was very straightforward.
Were you? That's good.
No, I was
Yeah.
very straightforward. So I said, this is what we're looking to do. This is how we want to launch.
Right.
What's your advice?
Right.
So, needless to say, some of them came back, and it wasn't favorable.
Right.
Yeah, it was fine. We understood that. But then there was some that came back and they're like, well, hey, let's get you set up as a dealer and here's the forms. And we're like, whoa. So we started filling out the forms. And then we went to the new industry. So we completely changed altogether. We went from working, we're going to do the used stuff, and then we went to the new because these opportunities came up. So through asking questions, we were on to a new opportunity. Right? So at the time when we came in, which was only 4 years ago, which doesn't seem like a lot of time, but at that time, this industry, as you guys know now, helping us out with our social and everything, it's a pretty traditional industry.
Very.
So it's very old-fashioned. So when we launched with a really nice website. Well, nice versus the standard, right? So we did this nice website, and that helped. That started getting us going. Because people were like, hey, I can't go to this site and shop online.
Perception and brand helps.
Exactly.
100%.
Perception is
We've talked about it many times, but yeah.
Yeah, perception is huge. I mean, we still get it to this day. People think we're a lot bigger than we are.
Yeah.
Right?
That was the same with
And
Green
it's-
Apps. People are like, you guys must be like a 20 million. I'm like, someday maybe, but thank you.
We're getting there.
Thank you for the compliment. Yeah,
We're getting there. We're working on it.
I
Yeah,
get
no
it,
doubt.
man. I get it. Yeah.
So very interesting. And then from there, the other companies that came off it, so Taylor Shelving, we're launching that here soon. That was a spin-off of that one. We recognized one particular product line was popular.
Right.
And we decided to market that specifically. We worked out a deal with the manufacturer on our own. And then now that's coming out. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but that's the gist of it.
Yeah, that was, I mean, same thing for me, and Brand can tell you all about it. I mean, tell about the story from your aspect of it, from starting from something you had no idea about. Because you were a little different too, because like you're doing accounting and being a waiter, to jump into sales, and especially business.
It was, man, okay, so I'm gonna keep my story. I could talk for all day about it. So
We all could, yeah. This could be a
Exactly.
we could be
If I ramble a little bit, I'm sorry.
Charles,
He's like,
I wish you guys out there could see his face about that. That's pretty cool.
So for one, the reason I got into it, I had a lot of people just telling me, you're doing the wrong thing. Like honestly, I would tell everybody, I was serving, like you mentioned, I'll go up to tables and I'll say, yeah, I'm going to school getting my accounting degree, and I would get like faces like, really? You're going to become an accountant? Because I'm personable, I like to talk, I like to engage, all those things that most people don't really put into the traits of an accountant, but I just like numbers. It's something that I started college, it's like, I'm just going to do it, just going to be an accountant. I had no other thoughts. But then as I progressed throughout my school year, and I started to not really have that much interest in accounting. And all my good friends were like, man, you be getting sales. Chris, best friend, said, hey, man, I see you being very successful within Grand Apps. He was like, you can come and do the books. He was like, you like numbers. You can still crunch the numbers. But I see you can be very successful within sales, within management, whatever it is. I want you to work at Grand Apps.
Right.
And there was a long time where I was just like, I got to finish school. I didn't jump off right away because I was like, I just had to finish school. That was my first thought. But then when it finally came down to where I was fed up with what I was doing, I didn't really want to take that jump into accounting. My back was almost against the wall because I was paying for my schooling. I didn't really have enough money to kind of just say I'm going to go 100% into Grand Apps, but I did it anyway. I took the chance, took the leap, and
It was a good choice.
the rest is history, man.
Yeah, you could be sitting in an accounting firm right now, crunching numbers, hating your job because it's Monday.
I was just got from Texas.
Wanting to go to the 11th floor, but anyways, so I didn't finish that, so we don't know. Go for it and have a
Talk
dinner.
to the
Exactly.
CEO.
So, but going with that, let's apply some actual steps real quick now, right?
Sure.
So somebody out there thinking about, I want to start a business, but I have no idea even what my passion is, or how to start this business because maybe I want to sell coffee cups, but I have no idea about that. But it seems kind of interesting. So what are some actual steps you guys would think to help them to get into an industry they have no idea about, and just to show them like you can do it. You can start a business at anything you want. Actionable step number one. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, what you started with is just research. Anything you don't know, you can learn.
So what would you say? Okay, with research then, is there like something like a feasibility test you would go like this is a good idea or a bad idea maybe, or would you just say just pick it, do it, research, and then do it?
So again, ours kind of came along, and we already had an example of somebody's success, right?
Right.
So we knew that there was potential. At this point, we're the only lab supply dealer on the lakeshore.
Yeah.
So for us, it's a good local standpoint.
Right.
So for us, it's a little bit different. But I would say if you're trying to decide whether or not something's worthwhile, I mean, research is key. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go about researching industry numbers, right? So you look at how much market share different companies have within it. You can buy reports. The internet's a wonderful thing, right? You guys know this.
Yeah.
You can seek out advice like we did, right? Where you just ask people, if I'm going into this industry, what are some of the things? What are the obstacles? what obstacles are we going to run into immediately,
Right.
and then work past that.
Yep.
And then from there you kind of grow. But before you get started, it's definitely research. I mean, what we did in the auto parts industry, we were retail, right? Which is totally different than e-commerce.
Yep.
So we thought, hey, we can sell good. We had awards, we had done all this stuff, we had trained, right? And then we had to transition to e-commerce. So we're like, this is gonna be simple.
Different
right?
animal.
Totally different.
Yeah.
And then we get into it and we start reading everything. We're like, oh my God, SEO, content, web development. We're like, oh man. So we realized, okay, this is a really big undertaking. And so it took us 18 months.
Yep.
We researched for 18 months. And that was learning SEO, learning social media. I mean, we knew how to Facebook post and stuff.
So then too, now I would say like from what I took away from that too now is, so two ways. When you're going to start the business, if you have the funding, you could just fund those people who are good at what they do. You do good at what you do, and then you can fast track that. If you do, but if you have to like us, you have to start from nothing and bootstrap. Here's the thing: to expect this while starting a business when you bootstrap, just expect it's going to take 2 years to learn.
Right.
Well, like you're going to have to stay afloat. However, if you have money saved in the bank, or if you're generating cash flow just
That's
to
the
get
key.
your living expenses,
Yeah.
do that, and then you have to like perceive within 2 years that's a learning curve. Same
Sure.
with Brandon, same with you. Like, don't get into and go, we're gonna start this month 1 and we're just gonna crush it. Look, I'll tell you right now, you and I can start different businesses now. We can start 5 different businesses and we can fast track them with our knowledge.
Sure.
But we can't go out there and start a $100 million company right now because we haven't been there yet to know how to fast track that, essentially.
Right.
So you just have to go into it knowing a real expectation.
You
It's
can
gonna take that.
You can take the fundamentals and then apply those
Yeah.
to new ventures,
Yeah.
but then you still have to grow
Yep.
and learn and
Yep.
be able to pivot,
So
which
us
we've
right now,
talked
yeah,
about.
we're
right?
about 4 or 5 years running this now. Now we're gonna still have to pivot and learn as we go
Sure.
to keep scaling it up.
One thing I do want to say that's really important. I mean, this really bothers me. I don't know if you do it. You guys might, but
Maybe, I don't know.
reading benchmarks. There's all these industry benchmarks, right? So like e-commerce in general, they have by this amount of time the average e-commerce company or whatever.
you're saying
gets
you
to
don't
this
or you
point.
do?
Don't
Okay.
let them bother you.
I don't.
Because it started out, it really bothered me at first because we were
Yeah.
a year or two in, right? So discouragement's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear it all the time. Everybody says it, right? But it's the truth. You
Yeah.
get discouraged and you're just kind of like, oh man, am I wasting my
Oh
time?
yeah.
But looking back on it now, I got all worried about it, right? And then it's like, well, now here we are. And I shouldn't have even considered any of this other stuff.
Set your own personal
So
benchmarks.
that is huge.
Your own personal.
I'll be
Right.
honest
Don't-
about that. I'll be honest with these guys. Like we are kind of struggle sometimes for internal benchmarks. Like we won't even set internal to hit them. Like what we do is we like every single day we just go as hard as we can, as fast as we can, and we apply as the most amount of effort that we possibly can every single day. Like we should have more benchmarks, I would say. But yeah, I was the same way. My first 2 years, I would compare my company to other companies, and that was my like benchmark. Like, oh, how many employees did they have? Like, how many clients do they have? I didn't really look at more or less like, like actual benchmarks of it. I just would make them in my head. And it could all be a perception like what you're saying.
Sure.
They could have a fake perception of who they are. I didn't know. But that was, and then once I said, I said, screw it. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to do me.
Yeah. And everybody has
That's when I
different
started seeing it.
circumstances.
Exactly.
Some people have more resources
Some
to start.
came in with
some
$1
don't.
million.
Right, exactly. Some
Some
have
have
marketing
less.
budgets right up front. So bootstrapping, it just inherently makes everything take longer. But the great thing about bootstrapping is as you build, you're not in a ton of debt, which
And
is
you learn way
wonderful.
more.
Yeah, and so when you're so even when you hire people that are experts like what you guys do, right? And
Right.
you guys are taking on our social media and everything. We can at least watch what you're doing, and we learn from it.
Yep.
But we also know what's going on,
Yep.
which is kind of nice.
Yep. You
right?
can learn together and grow.
So,
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yep.
So it's a great thing to know a little bit of everything, but don't try to master everything.
I was gonna say we never really hired any experts. We always just hired and then learned into the trade.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're
You
getting
know.
there now though.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
where it's like
definitely.
that's what I learned.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
but when we came, we're like underdog. Like we just be like, hey, like we hired based on passion. Who's got passion and drive and work ethic, and then as you scale up, like it's now you'd have to bring in like A-level talents.
Mhm.
As you scale up the core, it's how you have to do it. It's how you have to scale companies. It's business, but
Right.
yeah. So that's no, that's good, man. So how was it? Good.
Good.
See,
Awesome.
so it's funny though, because we're kind of talking about this, and on a closing note, he's like, man, doing this, he's like, man, I want to make sure I'm comfortable. So we made you feel comfortable, right?
Yeah, man.
It's this conversation.
First time I've done this.
It's not what you would think.
First
right?
time I've done this.
It's
But
like-
hey, I got this guy.
I know,
I got
right?
this guy. It's all good, man.
He's got
perfect.
the pretty smile, so it makes it easy, man. That's what we got. So I'll put the link up here. Check out the website. Go to the social media page. Like it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys episode
12.
12.
I got you.
That's why I got Brandon
That's why
Mike
Brandon's
Collins.
here.
Got you.
He's got the numbers.